Hey guys, it's Craig from the Crafty Pint here, back with another episode of our Aussie Hops series presented by HPA. Over this series, we've been talking with brewers both in Australia and around the world about some of our most iconic Australian hops. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Chris Swersey from HPA and Jeremy Moynier from Stone Brewing over in the US. Guys, great to have you on the show. Chris, good to see you again.
Thanks a million.
And Jeremy, welcome to the Craft Pint podcast.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Great, guys. Today we're talking about Ella, one of my favourite Australian hops as well. I've got a few, I've got to say, but this is a good one. Chris, give me the intro first. What's Ella all about? What are you looking for in that hop? How long's it been on the market, and so on?
Yeah, sure. Ella's just a beautiful, delicate hop. She's kind of like the quiet sister in the corner of our six proprietary hops. It was bred in 2001 and released 10 years later in 2011. So, by our standards, that's relatively fast. 10 years is pretty quick to get a hop out the door. It was originally released as Stella. I think many brewers, who've been around for 15 or more years probably remember that. It started out as Stella. I haven't gotten the story yet from Simon about why the name changed, but it was renamed later on to Ella. And it was its pedigree it's a high alpha Australian male and German Spalter. So it's a beautiful German landrace, very delicate, some spice, some floral in Spalter, and those attributes really they really unfold, in Ella. As a triploid, the oil count is much higher than it would be as a diploid. And of all of our varieties, Ella is the one that hews, I suppose, most like that kind of, but make no mistake, it's much bigger than a German landrace hop in terms of the shadow it throws and the complexity of its its overall aroma profile. It has some sweet fruit, it's got some tropical, it's got some other things going on as well. And I guess when I think of iconic U.S. brewers, I think of Stone. Jeremy and I worked together for nearly 20 years when I was at the Brewers Association, especially in the hop industry. And when I started working for HPA, I had no idea that Ella was in Stone IPA, which is just an eponymous, craft brand. It's a flagship brand that's been around for so long, and it's a beer I've admired, and I chase it down when I can find it. So anyway, what a treat to be sharing the room today with Jeremy.
Yeah, fantastic. And Jeremy, I'm aware of Stone Brewing, and as Chris said, it's a very well-known name in the United States craft beer scene. But we're an Australian podcast, a lot of Australian listeners. Give me the Stone story in a nutshell.
Yeah. So Stone started in 1996. So a few years ago, we're creeping up on 30 next year.
Wow.
And obviously the craft world was a little different back in the 90s. Sierra Nevada obviously was around, and both our owners, Steve Wagner and Greg Cook, were inspired by beers like Sierra Nevada's Pale Ale, also by this little brewery up in Temecula called Blind Pig, and also Swami's, out of Pizza Port. And so Southern California beers were really attractive to these guys, and they decided they wanted to do something, kind of mark out and do their own brewery. They landed here in northern San Diego and San Marcos and started making bold, aggressive, for the time, very aggressive beers, and especially IPAs. I came to Stone in 2004, and we were just kind of busting at the seams. Craft was just starting to really take off, and I got to join at the perfect time, and it was go, 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 and expand through many years. Obviously, things are slowed down a little bit, But Stone's really established himself at a nice level. We're available throughout the country and overseas as well. But really, our thing has always been balance. Our beers, although they were thought to be aggressive at the time, they've always been very balanced. And hops has always been our thing. Mitch Steele was our brewmaster for a while and really kind of upped the game when he came to Stone and really started to dive into more of an array of hops as more varieties became available.
And was that, I guess, the first experience you had with Australian hops and Ella in particular, that sort of broadening the list of ingredients you were looking at?
Yeah, we were just fascinated by hops, different varieties, but also different areas, especially the terroir of an area. And obviously, Australia has its own terroir and climate, as does New Zealand. And so we were really just attracted by that. And these, for the Australian hops at the time, Galaxy really blew us away. And I was real fortunate to go over in 2015 and see the HPA facilities, and have been lucky and fortunate to have been back there a few times to see how it's progressed. And I actually found a note here on Ella from that first trip, and it says incredible, sticky, glistening, super intense resin and fruit goodness. And I go, well, that's pretty good. That kind of sums up how I feel about Ella. So it's pretty.
I love it. Chris,
Cool
you got to put that
note.
on the Chris, you got to put that on the sales sheet.
Yeah, you got to send me that, Jeremy. That's magic.
I will. But yeah, and just besides using different hops, it's really about visiting these areas and getting to know the area and getting to know the growers and the people behind it. And that just makes the connection all the more valuable and really special. And so I have a lot of good vibes around Australia for sure.
No, fantastic. Well, mate, tell me sort of what beers. Chris mentioned the iconic Stone IPA. What other beers or are you using Ella in, or is it primarily the IPA? And what are you kind of looking for from that hop in all of those beers?
Yeah, in 2015, we were really stoked about Ella, Vic's Secret, and Galaxy, and we decided to make our anniversary beer that year, which is usually a double IPA, with those three hops and pretty heavy Vic's Secret and Ella on the dry hop side. And it really inspired us to what else can we do with these hops? What other beers can we kind of put those in? And about the same time, Greg had challenged us with redoing Stone IPA. And we thought, are you crazy, man? This is like iconic beer. Why screw with it? And this quote always sticks out in my mind. It's like, well, just because you've done something really well, does that mean you can't do it better? And so it was just kind of a challenge to see if we could update that recipe and not go radically away from it, but add some dimension and complexity to it. And that's really where the Ella and also Vic's Secret came into play. We didn't want to change all the goodness we were getting out of that, out of the Centennial and the Chinook that are in that beer and so known for that beer. But we were looking at trying to layer it and just kind of throw some more maybe floral and tropical notes and make it more complex. And that's where the Ella and the Vic really came in.
Oh, fantastic. And I guess, how would you describe Ella in terms of, I guess, point of difference to other hops out there? And it sounds like, you're using a lot of US hops, maybe some European hops, New Zealand hops. What stands out to you with Ella in particular?
Yeah, I just think it's a really nice, it's mostly tropical, at least when you use a fair amount of it. And has, you get these mango and kind of papaya notes along with pineapple, but also there's a nice little citrus kind of back end as well. We have a really cool single hop program that we do, and we've been using this same recipe for years to test our hops when we just want to do a single hop. And what's cool is that we can share that information with the grower. So the first time we did Ella, we did send it overseas to HPA, and we sent them our sensory and our charts for everything that we found in it. And both me and Steve Gonzalez that I work with in innovation, we were just really blown away by this hop on its own. We actually wanted to come out with a single hop with it because we thought it was really cool. And we actually did a while back when we had a single hop series. We did put it out as a production released beer just on its own, and it got a lot of good response. Um, I think it's a really powerful hop on its own, and I'm surprised that more folks aren't using it that way. But having said that, it's really good as a combo. And Stone IPA is a great example that I think you can layer it in and it'll give you some complexities that are really cool.
Yeah,
I don't
nice.
know if that answered your question. I
No,
got off on a
that's
tangent.
great, and I love the fact that you're taking that approach to, I guess, really trialing each new hop in a single hop beer for your own research and your own knowledge, and sharing that knowledge back with HPA. It sounds like it's a real partnership between you guys. Chris, is that sort of a process that you'd like?
Yeah, look, we're always looking to, to gain insights from brewers, right? Um, we sell hop, we grow and sell hops. Brewers, make the magic happen and make drinkers really happy people. So we can't sell hops without brewers telling us that that they love what we're doing. And so, we're always asking for sensory feedback. And it's it's uh, it's an important part of for example, when we're thinking of commercializing a new variety, we're always looking for feedback from brewers. Stone's been working with us recently on some of those kinds of projects, which has been great. Jeremy, I was gonna ask, just thinking about Ella, do you see a difference in the attributes that you get between let's say a hot side like a Whirlpool edition and a cold side edition of Ella? Do you see different attributes come forward with that?
We've usually layered it in on both sides. So I don't know that I have seen a difference from hot side to cold side because I think we've used it in tandem both times.
Yeah. Okay.
But I will say on IPA, it's only used on the dry hop side. So
Okay.
I think that's where we're really getting kind of that nice tropical kind of additive punch to all the citrus that we're getting from the use of Centennial.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Got it.
And
I
Jeremy,
know
just
that I
oh,
have
sorry.
heard that kind of the lower level use of it, you can get some floral and spice, and I don't think we've ever used it that low on that kind of side.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
Jeremy, on that, I guess one thing we've been asking each of the brewers in this series is sort of any technical tips or tricks that you might have picked up along the way to help you get the most bang for your buck out of these hops. Like anything you can share with other brewers out there.
Yeah, I would talk about our single hop recipe that it's just simple, and always go back to just keep it simple. Just use some two row, and use a yeast that you can depend on. We have a great house yeast, um, and we actually will use Magnum as a bittering hop for our single hop, and we do that to take out the variable of the bittering side,
Mm,
and then we'll put the hop, a fair amount in the whirlpool and then the dry hop side. So it's a real simple recipe, but it's real repeatable, and you get good when you just repeat something like that, and so you have a nice consistent recipe. Um, that's kind of a general, just about kind of testing hops.
mm,
Um, but I would carry that on to our beers as well that we release. Um, I mean, ingredients are amazing and you can use a lot of different things. But if you want to let hops shine, I don't think you have to get too crazy. You can really do kind of a basic recipe, and just look for ways to make the hops shine. And then you can learn from those single hop recipes, and that can kind of inform you to what you're going to do on the combo side. So you might see Ella, for example, like we did, and we had done Vic, and we said, well, let's try to put these two together. We think they would be a good combo, and we love that combo. And that informed us when we decided to use that in our Stone IPA recipe.
mm. Yeah, nice one. Um, Speaking of those kind of combinations, are there any particular hop combinations that work really well with Ella in particular that you can talk about as well?
Yeah, I mentioned that anniversary beer that we did. It was called Thunderstruck, and we actually repeated it in 2023, called it Down Understruck. So we brought it back, which we were really excited about. And that's Galaxy, Vic, and Ella, and I think that's a great trio. Those hops really play off of each other nicely, and there's different intensities and different kind of tropical and citrus attributes. Those three together are really great. We have used Ella with Citra as well, and I think there's another example of kind of taking that citrus side and then mirroring it with more of the tropical side. So that's another combo that we've really been happy with.
Jeremy, that's fantastic. And guys, thank you both again for joining me on this Aussie Hop series presented by the legends at HPA. You can watch the full series on the Crafty Pint podcast channel on YouTube. I do recommend the video versions. We will be releasing audio as well. And if you'd like more information about Australian hops and all the glory that they can provide to your beer, head to www.hops.com.au. Thanks so much, guys. Cheers.
Thanks. Cheers.